This is the second video for section 2.2. Before we begin, you should look at journal page 32, and let's discuss the minimum and maximum values. Now you already know the vocab definition for min and max values. The minimum value, if it's a happy face, is the same as the y value of the vertex. The maximum value is when the graph is upside down or a sad face. And again, the max value is the y coordinate of the vertex. To find that value, you can do negative b over 2a. That gives you your x coordinate, so then you'll have to then plug in negative b over 2a to figure out the y coordinate. And that y coordinate gives you your min-max value. So let's look at what's given here. Min value is when you plug in negative b over 2a, same thing for max. Domain for all the graphs will be always all real. The range, if it's a happy face, y will be greater than your min value. If it's a sad face, y will be less than your max value. And then let's talk about increasing and decreasing. Notice in the first picture, it's going to go down and then come up. So it's decreasing on the left and increasing on the right, where when it's a sad face, we're going to increase first and then decrease. Let's try an example before moving to the next part of the journal. So let's go to example 3. In example 3, they want us to figure out the min-max value, and then we can discuss what's given. For us to figure out if it's a min or a max, think about whether it will be a happy face or a sad face. So since A is positive or greater than 0, it's going to be a happy face. That means the point, the vertex, is going to be at the bottom, and we're going to have a minimum value. So first we need to figure out negative b over 2a. That'll be negative 2 over 2 times a half. That will give us a value of 2 over 1, or 2. This is the x-coordinate of the vertex. So you then need to plug the x in to figure out the y. So 1/2 times 2 squared minus 2 times 2 minus 1. And that will give you negative 3. So the min value will be negative 3. Now let's answer what they are asking. For the domain will be all real numbers. The range will be, since this is the minimum, everything else will be above. So all the y values will be greater than or equal to your minimum number. And since it's a happy face, we're going to go down and then up. So we are going to decrease and then increase. So you can just write d, then I. And our min value was negative 3. Now let's go back to the journal. We are now going to look at the bottom of page 32, and we're looking at a quadratic in this form. This form is called intercept form because you can easily pick out the two x-intercepts. The x-intercepts we're going to label as P and Q. And so you can see P and Q right here. Those will be your two x-intercepts. Notice that the axis of symmetry is always in the middle of the two x-intercepts. So to find where the x-axis of symmetry is, you're going to find the average of P and Q. Add P and Q together and divide by 2. So if you had to graph when given an intercept form, the first thing you want to do are plot those x-intercepts. Then you can plot the vertex. And how you get the vertex is the x-coordinate will be the same as the axis of symmetry. So P plus Q divided by 2, and then plug that in to figure out the y value. And then you can sketch your curve. So let's try it for example 4. So first we need to find the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts are going to be the numbers in the parentheses. You do take them opposite, because what we're actually doing is setting each parentheses equal to 0, and we'll solve and get both x-intercepts. So our x-intercepts will be negative 3 and positive 1. To find the axis of symmetry, it's going to happen in between those. So you're going to take your P and your Q and divide it by 2. That'll be negative 1. So your axis of symmetry will happen at x equals -1. The vertex, the x-coordinate will be -1. It's going to fall on that axis of symmetry. You then need to plug -1 into the function for the x's. So I'm going to plug -1 into the original function. Compute this. You will get 8. So let's sketch. First thing you want to do, find your x-intercepts and plot them. So it'll be at -3 and 1. The axis of symmetry happens right in the middle. We said it was -1 mathematically, and if you look visually, -1 is right down the middle here. Let me do it in red so you can see it. Then the vertex will also happen on this line. It happens at -1, 8. So we're going to plot -1, 8. And we have our two x-intercepts. Remember, we only need 3 points to graph this, so with our two x-intercepts and the vertex, we can then graph. It's a little hard to see.